Stampers! Welcome to Great Inspirations. My name is Kim Tolbert and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Thank you for joining me. Today I have a Halloween card to share with you. It's sort of a spooky nighttime scene. We have the moon and the bats and the bare tree. I've used some pumpkin pie, some Blackberry Bliss. The moon is Daffodil Delight, and of course the bats are the Memento Tuxedo Black. Now, on the inside, I stamped some more of the bats and just put Happy Haunting. But what I wanted to share with you most today was the background and a way that you can create a spooky nighttime background on your own. So that's what we'll be concentrating on. Now, for this card, there will be on my blog a list of supplies, the cutting dimensions, and a few instructions on how I put this particular card together. And in the description of this video, I will put a link to that blog. So let's kind of take a look at the stamp sets I used. First of all, for this moon, I used the To the Moon stamp set, and I used this image. But for the example I'm going to show you today, we're going to just use a circle for the moon. And then for the, let me find the right stamp set, I used Seascape for this bare tree image. This is more of a, I don't know, a water plant, seaweed, but I did use it as a tree for this particular card. Then for these bats, I used one of my favorite stamp sets ever, Banner Year. I used this little bat, and I just stamped him several times and cut him out. And then for the smaller bats, I used these two images from Clever Cats. Now, you don't have to have all these stamp sets to create this card. Use what you have. You don't even have to use bats or these images. You can just make a Halloween nighttime scene of your own using what you have. So to create this background, I use blending brushes. Let's get a background here. And as you can see, I've already stamped the tree image, or what we're going to use as a tree image. And then I die cut a circle mask. You could also punch one if you have a punch. And this has a little bit of sticky on the back, and I'm just going to stick it, well, I might move it over just a little because we're going to mask the moon. And then I told you we're going to use some blending brushes. I have 3. And this one is one I use for some yellows, and it is going to be used with the Daffodil Delight today. And this one is for Smoky Slate, and this one is for Blackberry Bliss. And the first thing I did was start with some Daffodil Delight. We'll open up this ink pad. Actually, we might just open up all 3 of them. Move the card for a minute. So there's the Blackberry, or the Daffodil Delight, the Smoky Slate, and then the Blackberry Bliss. Okay, so I'm going, got more ink. See, I've had ink on me all day. So we're going to start with the Daffodil Delight, the lightest color, and you do want to make sure to cover your work area because it's going to get messy a little. So we're just going to pounce this on the Daffodil Delight, on the ink pad, and then I'm going to just pounce some over on my scrap paper to get some of that ink off, and then I'm just going to go in a circle around our moon. And keep going until I kind of like that. You don't want it to go too far out. So then next I'm going to take the, the Smoky Slate. Just kind of pounce it on my ink pad. And then I'm going to start very lightly going around the gray, or the Daffodil Delight with the smoky slate. And then we can carry it on down the page. Just keep going until you get colors that, a saturation of color that you feel comfortable with and that you like. As you can see, I have a little more here and maybe a little more there, and you know what? That's going to be just fine. And even if you drop your brush with the smoky slate on it, just turn them into dark clouds, because that is exactly what happened there. I dropped my brush. But anyway, we'll just keep adding a little. Like I say, until we get it to where we really like it. And I think my tree needs a little bit darker. And then let's just kind of go very carefully around our yellow. So there's that. Now we'll bring in some Blackberry Bliss, which it is a very dark, rich color, so we'll want to be really careful with applying it. Actually, I want to start at the bottom, because we'll want it to be the darkest at the bottom. You know, just keep adding and adding and adding until you get the depth of color that you want. And just start working up the page, and I kind of go from the side. And yes, it's okay to go right over that gray, right over that smoky slate. And come up this side. Just kind of keep going till you find a saturation that you like. And then if you want, or if you feel you need to, you can always come back in some of the gray or even some of the Daffodil Delight. And I would probably go darker at the bottom here, even darker than what I have. But you just keep going until you get something that you like, and then you can remove the mask. And if you want to leave it just like it is, that bright white, you can, or you can just take a little bit of the Daffodil Delight, just kind of add it. You don't have to color in the whole thing. You can leave a little white, and it sort of gives you a look of a moon glow. So there, that's all there is to that background. Is just keep layering on colors. And you don't have to use these three colors. If you wanted to use, say, for example, a deeper yellow like crushed curry, or maybe even something that's more of an orange like Mango Melody or even pumpkin pie, that would be fine for the moon. You could also, in place of the Blackberry Bliss, you could use Night of Navy. You know, in place of the gray, you could use a different, like a blue, maybe balmy blue, just do it real light. It's totally up to you, but that's the way you can make a nice spooky background for your Halloween cards. Now, I stamped this tree image, or we're using it for a tree, with basic gray, because I wanted it to be a different shade than the bats. So, as I showed you, I had stamped 3 of these bats from the Banner Year stamp set, and then I fussy cut them, just like this. But I didn't want that white border. So I took my Stampin' Blend, it's alcohol marker, and it's the dark smoky slate. And I just took this tip end here, and I just went around the white that was on the bat. Doesn't take very long, and actually it didn't take very long to fussy cut them either. Just went around the edge and kind of took away that bright white. So there's the bat. And then what I did, I took a bone folder, kind of bent his wing a little, bent it up, and then took my bone folder and curled it just a little, both wings. Like that. And then I added one of the mini black Stampin' Dimensionals. And just popped him on like that. And then, like I said, I did a couple more. Then I just took the Tuxedo Black ink and these two bat images and stamped them so they'll look like these are farther away. All the bats are coming towards us. And of course the It's Halloween is also from the Clever Cats stamp set. And I just took a piece of basic white cardstock, used my blending brush with the Blackberry Bliss and colored the paper just a little. I stamped it with the black ink, It's Halloween. And I cut it out with one of let me see if I can remember, Tasteful Labels dies, I do believe is what that's from. But I don't know if you can see, but another thing I did around this label and around this panel was I took my Stampin' Write marker, the Blackberry Bliss, and I used this tip right here, the brush tip, and I just ran it along the edge of the paper. Just like that. It gives it more of a finished look. It kind of gets rid of that white edge. And there you go. And then when you put this on top of the pumpkin pie, it sort of lets it stand out a bit. It gives it a little bit more dimension. So that is how I did the background for the spooky Halloween card. I want to thank you for joining me, and again, there will be a link to my blog in the description of this video, and that's where you will find all the supplies, measurements, and some instructions on how I made this card. Thank you for joining me. Until next time, stamp happy!